Well, good morning. Thank you all for being here today with us. We were really confident the United States District Court would reach a decision because the law, because the facts, and because the interests of Kentucky voters were on our side. This case is about doing our job. This case was about defending the people we serve. Kentucky elections are important. They are the bedrock of our democracy, and election officials work every day to conduct secure, accurate, and transparent elections. They work hard to preserve our democracy. Whenever this lawsuit was brought, I was proud that Kentucky came together. Republicans, Democrats, state election officials, we stood together on the belief that voter privacy matters, that Kentucky has both the right and responsibility to protect the people that we serve. This ruling is about more than just any one lawsuit. It's about more than just the Trump administration. See, it reaffirms a simple principle. It's that Kentucky election should be governed according to the law, not by federal overreach. The protections recognized today will safeguard Kentuckians from future attempts by any administration to try to attempt to obtain sensitive voter information without clear legal authority and protect against the federal abuse of that power. I'm proud that the Jefferson County Clerk's office got to stand with our Secretary of State, the State Board of Election, and our Jefferson County Attorney's Office to defend voter privacy. We defended election integrity and Kentucky's authority to administer its own elections. You see, this ruling is a win for Kentucky. It's a win for Kentucky voters, for state rights, and for the Constitution. We protected Kentucky's privacy, and today Kentucky won. I have here with me our county attorney, who from the very beginning, when this lawsuit came in, we sat down around a table and discussed what was necessary to defend roughly 20% of all Kentucky voters that are in Jefferson County. How we would be the very first county clerk to intervene in a lawsuit nationally, and how ultimately we would win because the law, the Constitution, and the integrity of elections are on our side. County Attorney Michael Connell.
Thank you, David. Good morning. I'm going to take a little bit of a different path. I agree, obviously, with everything he said, but I'm going to take a little bit of a different path about the quality of the work product that the Department of Justice lawyers filed in the federal court in this case. It was embarrassing, and it was noted by the court. They failed to state a purpose for the demand in the letters, nor did they state a basis for the support or the request that they were trying to get. Absolutely pathetic work product. It says something about what is going on in the Department of Justice in this country today. They are 0 for 17 in these cases they have filed, just like they were 0 for 60 in voter fraud election cases that they filed. This is a very big and important matter, and a message to send to Donald Trump that he is not going to come to Jefferson County. He's not going to come to the state of Kentucky and just do whatever he thinks he should do and get whatever he thinks he should have when it comes to the private voting rights of the people of this Commonwealth. And the Department of Justice which is a shadow of what it used to be, should be embarrassed to the hilt that they even brought this. And if you read the opinion, you'll see that Judge Boom feels the same way. And she dismissed this case in the legal language of with prejudice, meaning they cannot bring it again. That's how bad it is. It's how bad it was pled as a lawyer. So as I go out as the county attorney in a few months, I have some very strong opinions about work product and this Sarah Martin here is head of the civil division, and this was worked with under her direction to file necessary pleadings and on behalf of David, and they did a great job, and I'm very proud of them. And I don't think I've ever seen any more. Okay, thank you.
Sarah, would you?
Good morning, Sarah Martin with the Jefferson County Attorney's Office. I'd like to just echo Mike O'Connell's remarks of how we were proud to stand with Jefferson County Clerk David Yates and his courage, and also the team of lawyers, Natalie Johnson, who now works for Clerk Yates as his general counsel, Katie Goodwin, who's here today. We worked very diligently to prevent the misuse of voter sensitive and private voter data of the voters of Jefferson County. And if the Trump administration appeals this decision, we will proudly join Secretary Michael Adams to continue to defend the integrity of our election at the appellate courts. We're pleased the court stopped the overreach of the Trump administration in attempting to get the sensitive and private information of our voters. And as Mike O'Connell said, Jefferson County 1, Donald Trump 0. I'll turn it back over to Clerk Yates. Thank you.
Well, thank all of you on this, and we could open up for questions, but I will tell you one thing that we get hit a lot over and over. It's really it's unfortunate that sometimes you see people play partisan politics and political games with something as important as our election integrity. For each of voters out there, your vote matters. Your privacy is protected. And our founding fathers, when we were writing the Constitution and the Convention, they made the decision to make sure that the voting would be local, to protect against any future president overreach and ability to do that. They felt that we wanted to keep the power with the people local. And for those who still believe in state rights and making sure that you protect the Constitution, this is a huge win. Because I don't know that the administration actually had an attempt or belief that they could win this. Lawyers sit around a table, the more you look at it, the more you realize that hopefully this is not just a distraction. We keep getting hit with, what are you trying to hide? Why won't you just turn it over? You have nothing to hide. I can promise you that I've been here for a short period of time. I was not trying to protect the voter files that the previous clerk, Bobby Hosclod, had. In fact, everything's turned over to our Secretary of State, the way the counties do that. It is turned over and it is protected. It is changed. There's nothing to hide. What there is there's something to protect. It's to protect the voter's privacy, that promise that we make to each individual voter. And it also protects whether or not you think that Donald Trump's a Boy Scout and would never do anything corrupt. If you really believe that, what we have to also do, if you believe that, then you could still believe that it's important to protect that precedent from happening for future administrations. Because this country was founded on the belief to make sure that you would not have that type of centralized control, that any changes that would encroach onto the state rights have to be done through Congress. In this situation, Congress would not pass that type of overreach. So what we did is we stood up on integrity. We based on the Constitution and the law. We stood up, we fought back, and we've won. 30 different states were sued. The Department of Justice and the Trump administration has not won any of these. They've already filed, 17 have already won motions to dismiss based on the law. If that tells you anything. So I'm happy to take on any questions.
Mike, what's to prevent that? I read the opinion. What's to prevent them from filing a new letter that states the purpose and gives the basis?
Well,
Why can't they just do that?
they can file anything with the court they want. the next step, if they think they're so good at what they did, and they think the judge is so wrong, they would file a notice of appeal with the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals in Cincinnati. That would be the next logical thing. And I don't think the Sixth Circuit would be all that anxious to get involved in this if they're continuing to send letters and, go on top of the judge's opinion. It's just awful. Terrible work. Terrible work.
And the most frustrating part is elected officials that working around the clock, trying to make sure that we protect the integrity of our elections, making sure that every vote is counted accurately, making sure that people can believe in our elections, because ultimately that is the bedrock of our democracy. These type of partisan games, political games, overreach, it's unfortunate because you can claim something. Anybody with a podium can make statements. What's important is the facts that you use to back it up. And like the judge said, there were no facts.
If the Sixth Circuit did decide to take this up, how confident are you that this would stand up on appeal?
Well, I think it's very confident, as Clerk Yates just mentioned. I think they may have filed around 30 of these things around the country, and they're 0 for 17. And they're getting dismissed before there's the first hearing of any sort. The pleading is so bad and such a poor, lousy work product that has come out of the shadow Department of Justice in Washington that it's laughable. And they ought to be embarrassed, every single one of them.
Have you had a chance to talk with the Secretary of State or any of your peer county clerks? And if so, what's kind of the attitude about the decision?
Before filing, talked to my peers and felt that I felt it was necessary that someone represent based on the local, since we are the largest jurisdiction by far. We stepped up and did that. I think the consensus is pretty strong as far as just election integrity and making sure you protect voting rights. In fact, I can tell you, Kentucky, we have a super majority legislature and Senate, Republican controlled. Every statewide elected officer except for the governor is Republican. I am a Democrat county clerk, Republican Secretary of State. I have not heard any elected leader, stand up and say, yes, let's give away the privacy rights of our local voters. I haven't heard not one. You're the media, maybe there is, but I have not heard that. I think the consensus is strong that we protect the Constitution, we protect the laws of Kentucky, and we protect the privacy of Kentucky, and that anybody in the know knows that this is a horrific overreach, not backed by any law. And unfortunately, sometimes people play games with the media, they play games on social media and try to confuse people to think maybe Kentucky's doing something wrong. I'm proud of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and I'm proud of the strides that we've done. This is bipartisan. It's not Democrat or Republican. This is us standing united together to protect Kentucky voters.
If political parties can get some of this information, what was the administration asking for that crossed the line?
Well, what they were doing is asking for the unredacted voting rolls together. And so while you may say, well, federal government may be able to piecemeal different things together, they can't without a purpose. And the reason we've done that is it has to be approved through Congress if they're going to have an overreach, and it's to protect possibilities of abuse. So my worry was, and I guess talking to other elected officials throughout the state, the worry, not just with the Trump administration, throughout our history of the United States, one of the worries would be that a federal government would become too powerful and could bully or change voting rolls that could intimidate local officials into doing what they want. And so we decided we would never let that type of concentration of power be in a federal government administration. Instead, we disseminate that throughout the states. And that's why we have like the Electoral College and all these things that have been designed to keep from having some type of abuse. And so whether or not you believe that Trump would ever actually abuse that power, even the Republicans that are strong supporters of the Trump administration can be against this, because you do not want to give that type of power to the federal government because of the possibility of abuse. And so that's why I think you see such a strong bipartisan stance from people who believe in state rights throughout the United States.
David, we spoke about this yesterday, but with the president and his claims he made last week, with these lawsuits that were going on involving you guys, and with your review that was happening, the internal review, how do you counter the feeling that may be out there among voters that, hey, regardless of who's doing what party, there's something not right about the elections in this country?
Yeah, I can tell you it's a damn shame that when you're put in a position with a podium of power as a leader, your job is to unite. And any leader that you see stand up, that constantly works to demonize and divide, is not a leader. United we stand, divided we fall. And so the basis of our elections is so important to our democracy. The belief in our First Amendment and the belief in our elections are really kind of the hallmark of what makes us so great. And to see someone without any facts, without any way to back it up, just make statement after statements, knowing that people could follow that, is dangerous. It's dangerous for my election officers who believe and work so hard on this, and it's dangerous for our democracy. And so that's why, even when they're saying that only 0.45% may even be questionable on precinct assignments, I still think that's why you have to have to double check it and have a third party and all this transparency, because we have to prove to the people that what they're saying is not true. So in our elections locally, we've been recording every single step so that you can show they're not rigged. Those are lies, and it's unfortunate. But it is up to all of us to set aside the partisan politics and political games and stand for something larger. And that's a real patriot. A real patriot who believes in the United States and our democracy will stand up and fight back. That's what we did here, and we were victorious.
Can I add something? When it comes to the elections in the United States of America, and the quote, the famous quote, there are lies, lies, and there are damn lies. These are damn lies being put out by this administration to the people of this country, that somehow or another they think that all the elections that are going on in the states, there's something criminals happening. So, I mean, and if you look at the statistics, even where there would be an infraction of voting, they're de minimis. They're de minimis examples. And yet this president stands up in front of the people of this country and wants them to believe that the voting in the states of the United States of America are fraudulent, they are wrecked, they are corrupt, and he should know all about all of those definitions. So anyway, thank you.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Okay, go. I'm going out the door. Right? I was waiting to get that off my chest.